Alright YouTube, we are going to talk about Savage Access chambered 25-06. I did some hand loading for it using Nosler ballistic tip 100 grains with IMR 7828 and IMR 4320. And these are the groups that I got for these two powders and charge weights and the velocity. So let's start out with the first one with IMR 7828 with 55.5 grains. I got an average velocity of 30.28, a standard deviation of 13, and an extreme spread of 35 with a 2.4 inch group. So not very good. These are all going to be 5-shot groups. Alright, on to the second one. Using IMR 7828 56 grains, an average velocity of 31.11, standard deviation 9, and extreme spread of 26. With a group size of a 1.4 inch group. Also not very good. Let's do the next one. Alright, on to the third group using IMR 7828, 56.5 grains, got an average velocity of 31.34, standard deviation of 22, and extreme spread of 57, with a group of 1.68. And let's move on to the fourth one. Alright, next group here, we've got 57 grains of IMR 7828, average velocity of 31.65, standard deviation of 13, extreme spread of 36, and overall just a horrendous group. That being said, IMR 7828 really did not perform like I would like. I got some okay velocity, but the grouping was just not good. So I think I'm going to scratch that powder off the list. Let's move on to IMR 4350. So for IMR 4350 of 49.5 grains, average velocity was 32.50, standard deviation of 10, and extreme spread of 23. And the first group was a 1.154 inch group. So better, you can see the first three grouping, okay, and then 4 and 5 kicked out. So let's move on to the second group of IMR 4350. Alright, so for the second group of IMR 4350, we have 50 grains with average velocity of 32.74, a standard deviation 11, and an extreme spread of 30. This is an interesting group. I got a 1.4 inch group. They look like two separate groupings trying to group together, and then the fifth one kicked out really far, and so that neither one of those are really what I'm looking for in that group. So this group here of IMR 4350 really shot outstanding. Average velocity of 32.97, standard deviation of 5, and extreme spread of 14, with a 0.577 inch group. I have 4 shots just right in all they're touching each other, and the fifth one just up above. This one here is more than acceptable for any deer hunting or varmint hunting I would be doing, with some very good velocity. So I will probably end up reviewing back this one and see if I can get it to repeat. But let's get on to the next group. Alright, on to this one. For IMR 4350, 51 grains, average velocity of 33.18, standard deviation of 9, extreme spread of 20. And once again, you see we got 1, 2 grouping together, and 3, 4 grouping together, and then the fifth one kicked out of a group size of 1.258. So what we're mainly seeing is a lot of this stuff shooting right around an inch to an inch and a half group. But let's get on to the next one. Alright, so for this last group here of IMR 4350, 51.5 grains, average velocity of 33.49, standard deviation of 5, and extreme spread of 15, of a 1.29 inch group. This one here was the last group I shot of the day. I was at the range for about 5.5 hours. I would kind of like to revisit this one. This one here is intriguing to me. It had a good standard deviation, a pretty good extreme spread, and they look like they're just kind of scattered a little bit. So I may go back and try this one when I go verify one of the other loads. But very, very, very pleased with how the results were. Basically getting an 1.5 inch result from shooting this rifle with a Savage Axis, which is a $300 gun. Not terrible, but as you can see, hand loading, we were able, one group, get it below, basically right around a half-inch group. So I'd like to keep going from there. We're going to be using a lot of different bullets, a lot of different powders, and that basically we can improve upon the factory loading, which we have, because factory loading in this rifle has not done well. So we're probably gonna do the 87 grain Nosler ballistic tips next, and then move on from there, and we'll keep going. All right, guys, thank you for watching.